is Bella, and welcome to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. I am a knitter and knitwear designer based in Northern California, and this is a podcast where I like to share with you everything that I've been knitting on, new designs in the works, things I've been making, and so on. And today's episode, there's a lot to update you on. It's a new year, and I was very excited to cast on all of the new things, some new designs that I have in my head that I've been thinking about for a while, and then also some other projects for family and friends and such, and then some stash acquisitions at the end we will get to, so stay tuned for that. But first, I have quite a few finished objects to share with you. I feel like the past couple weeks I've been just on a knitting spree. I have gotten so excited again about knitting. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel myself getting kind of in a knitting slump every once in a while. I don't know why. I do love knitting, but sometimes it's just not, I don't know. Anyways, the past couple weeks I've really been excited about knitting again. Maybe because I've moved somewhere where it's actually cold and I feel like I actually need these things, and my family and friends actually need these things rather than where I used to live in Southern California in Los Angeles, where it wasn't too cold much of the time, so knitting was more of just for fun. Anyways, first we will get into the finished objects. So the first finished object I have to share with you is actually my first design that will be coming out this year, and that is the Triga Mittens. I'll show you them here. So these are just such adorable, cute little mittens that I wanted to knit up, actually matching what I'm wearing today. So this is the Fields of Gold sweater, which I designed back last year in early fall. And the Triga mittens were very much inspired by that. So as you can see, it's the same kind of wheatgrass motif that is in this sweater is in the mittens, so you can be matchy. But yeah, I was really feeling the need for mittens or gloves. Again, I moved somewhere where it's cold and I actually need mittens. I couldn't believe I didn't have any mittens before moving to Northern California, and it's been so cold and rainy the past few weeks, and I was desperately needing some gloves, so I figured why not design some of my own. And I really wanted some that would match this sweater that I could wear with it, and they're just so beautiful on their own as well, I think. So it's this beautiful wheatgrass motif in the middle, and then some textures, some simple textures, and a pretty simple construction. It's worked from the top down, so you cast on at the top of the fingers there, and then you work down in the round, and you knit the little textures. All of these textures are done with knitting, so there's no embroidery or anything to do after the fact. It's all done while you're working, so that makes it easier. And the technique that I use to make these little wheatgrass motifs, I personally have not seen the technique before, so I definitely made sure to record and include some video tutorials throughout the pattern. Also in my Fields of Gold pattern, this sweater, I include a lot of tutorials walking you through step by step exactly how to achieve this look. So yeah, this is I'm thinking it as kind of like an introductory. So if you're curious about the sweater and you would want to try the motif on a smaller scale, maybe try the mittens first, and then that could kind of prep you, get you sort of used to the idea of doing this kind of a motif. But anyways, really quick to knit up. These use Newtoden double stranded, so Newtoden held double. You could use any sort of an unspun yarn or also an Aran weight yarn. This is actually in test knitting now, and some of my testers are using spun Aran weight yarn, so that'll be very exciting to see. And this pattern actually will be coming out very soon. This is a very quick knit to work up, so this pattern is actually going to be coming out sometime next week, or actually the end of January. I don't know what date it is today, but these are going to be coming out at the end of January. So if you would like to hear more about these or get updates on the pattern, you can follow me on Instagram. I will have that linked down below. And a little announcement I wanted to share with you all, something new that happened, is we now have a newsletter for 100 Acre Wool. So the newsletter is going to be my main way to contact you all about new patterns, things that I think you'd be interested in, podcasts, shop updates, everything of that sort, everything related to this podcast and my knitwear designing. That will be the place to find updates, is the newsletter. And also the newsletter is something that's different from the newsletter to my Instagram page, because my Instagram I do update you all on there as well for a lot of things. But the newsletter is now going to be my primary way for doing test knit calls. So if you would like to be a test knitter for any of my future knitwear design patterns, that will be the way to do it. So sign up for the newsletter and then you could apply to be a test knitter. So yeah, I will have that again linked in the description below this video. And yeah, I love how these came out so much. They are so cozy and warm, and I really do suggest you knit these with unspun yarn. You can definitely get your hands on unspun yarn other than Newtonen. There's Plötulopi, there's one from Wool Dreamers, Manchalopi. There's quite a few out there, and I will also have those linked in the pattern for this pattern as well. But yeah, I would really recommend unspun for this design, just because of the wheat texture. I think it looks so beautiful when it's unspun and it's left to be very fluffy and kind of soft looking. So that's just my personal preference. You are welcome to knit it with whatever you would like, of course. But yeah, there we go. Oh, and again, or not again, rather, I should say before I forget to mention, this pattern comes in 2 sizes as well. So this is going to be the smaller size, the size that I knit for myself. This is size 1, and then there's also a size 2 in the pattern as well. So all of those details will be coming when the pattern is released at the end of January. So those are the Triga Mittens. And then I also had a chance to finally finish quite a few of gifts for my family for winter. Some winter knits that I wanted to make for people. So had a chance to finish those, and this is one of them. So I knit a hat for one of my family members. I've really been enjoying making hats. They're just such a fun, quick knit that's really easy and mindless. Just been casting them on while I'm just sitting around, or when you're traveling or anything like that. Just something to have on the needles when you want to work on something, when you want to do something with your hands, but you really don't have to think about it much. So this was just an improvised pattern. Let me see, what yarn did I use? I think I used Wool Dreamers La Ricola. Hold on, let me get the ball band. Okay, this hat I knit with Wool Dreamers yarn, and it is called, yes, La Rinconada. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so I will also link it down below in the description down below. But I think this was a worsted weight yarn, if I'm not mistaken, and I honestly just kind of guesstimated how many stitches to cast on. Yeah, I wasn't working from a pattern or anything like that. It's just a really simple 2x2 rib all the way around. And then I did a couple of decreases going towards the crown, just evenly around the entire thing, just did some decreases, and then I just cinched it up there at the top. So yeah, just really simple, really easy. Again, don't have a pattern for this, but it's just a really quick, fun, easy knit. And then I also did a tubular cast-on, I believe it's called. I will also link the tutorial for that below if you are curious to see how to do this. It was a really interesting technique. Found the video by Andrea Mowry, and it's very similar to the 1x1 twisted rib or tubular ribbing cast on. It's very similar to that, but then you do a little switcheroo with some of the stitches, and it ends up like really beautiful how it turns out at the end. So I'm talking about this cast on right here. So I worked this bottom up and yeah, just cinched it all in at the top. Super easy, super fun little knit there. So that will be a gift for one of my family members. And then another hat for another family member. This one was a pattern. This is exactly what I showed you guys last time. I just used a different yarn. So this is the Classic Rib Hat by Pearl Soho. And I told you all last time, I really loved this pattern. It's a free pattern. I think it's really, you can use a lot of different yarns with it, most likely. It calls for a DK weight yarn, but I think you could probably use a light worsted as well. And this is the second time that I've knit this using a fingering-ish weight yarn and then held it double. Actually, this one I actually used a sport weight yarn held double for this one. So, and it turned out to be pretty much the same gauge. It might be a little bit bigger, but that's actually better for the person who I'm knitting it for. So yeah, you could knit it with fingering held double, sport weight held double, DK weight yarn, light worsted weight. I don't know. It seems like it's very versatile as to what yarn you can use for this, so I really very much appreciate that. So again, highly recommend that pattern, the Classic Rib Hat by Pearl Soho. And the same thing as I did to the last one, I did the 1x1 twisted rib cast on here and worked it up easy breezy. So that again was another really quick knit, and all of these things, all these hats, I have another one to share with you. These were all cast on and off this year. So I'm like, seriously guys, I'm like going crazy with the knitting. Having a lot of fun with it this year so far. So yeah, another hat. So this was again another hat that I knit for a family member that I will be sending out to them very soon. This one was also a improvised pattern, or improvised knit, so didn't use a pattern at all for this one. Just cast on how much I thought would be the right amount. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you the yarn for the purple hat. So yes, like I said, this was a sport weight yarn. This was Expression Fiber Arts yarn that I've had in my stash forever, and I really loved it. I really loved the yarn, but I only had one skein and I just was never sure what to use it for. But yeah, so this is the Twisted Tweed Sport yarn. So it is wool, yeah, it's fine merino wool, superwash wool, and Donegal tweed. So those are all the little tweedy bits that you see throughout. I hope those are coming up on camera. It's a really beautiful yarn, and it feels very strong and sturdy. That might also be because I held it double throughout, but yeah, it's a really beautiful hat, how it came out. So that is that yarn, Expression Fiber Arts. So back to this red hat. Again, this was an improvised pattern, and I made a tiny little gauge swatch for myself to kind of figure out how many stitches I should cast on, and then just went from there. Started from the bottom up, but this one I did a little something different. I did a folded over brim. So the bottom here, I actually knit double this ribbing portion. So you can see I folded it under at one point and tacked it down. So I just cast on as usual and then knit in 2x2 ribbing, and I knit double the length that I wanted for the actual brim. And then once I got that finished, then I just knit them together. So there's probably tutorials online how to do this, but you just knit two together all the way around. You put all the stitches from the bottom on a cable needle, and then all the stitches that are live from before on a cable needle, and then I just knit those together all the way around. Actually, I think I did a provisional cast on. I don't think I did a regular cast on because I wanted those live stitches. So yes, I took all the stitches off the provisional cast on and then worked those. I think that's how I did this one. So that it gives you a really nice finish on the inside. There's no weird bumps or anything. And yeah, it's double thickness, so it's nice and warm on your ears. That's how I would like my hats, so I figured that would be good. And then, yeah, for the crown shaping, I sort of just guesstimated. Wanted to make it as smooth of a decrease as possible. So I just did even sections all the way around and did progressively increasing the rate of decreases to make this sort of hat shape. Yeah, so this was again a really fun knit, really quick and simple. I actually really like how it turned out. It's kind of like a watch cap beanie, I think. So really cute. I haven't actually knit a hat like this before, so that was fun. And simple stockinette. I've been wanting a simple stockinette project, so here it was. And yeah, it's just really simple and fun. This yarn I held single. It's a fingering weight yarn from Cowl. I still have a bunch of yarn left. Well, maybe not a bunch. This is probably like 30 grams of yarn. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a DK weight yarn, not fingering. So it's Cowl. I think it's just Cowl DK by Cowl. A really beautiful red color. I definitely recommend this yarn. I only purchased this one skein for this hat from, where did I get it from? I ordered it a few weeks ago from the Woolly Thistle, yes. Which, by the way, I highly recommend the Woolly Thistle. They also have a podcast here on YouTube, really lovely. I love to watch their podcast when I'm knitting and hanging out. So yeah, I ordered this yarn from them, and I will definitely be repurchasing Cowl at some point. I'm not sure when, but I do really enjoy this yarn. It's a really nice rustic, but still soft, not too many hairs flying all over the place. It's just a really nice quality wool, non-superwash, so I always love that. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really warm hat for my family member. So those are 3 more gift projects done. I still have a few in the works, but the ones that are left are sweater projects, so those will take longer, of course, and they're not as, in my mind, they're not as like high priority as to when I need to get them done. So anyways, yeah, lots of finished objects. So now let's get into some works in progress. Like I said at the beginning, it's a new year and I've just been so excited to cast on a lot of new things. So this was a design that I've had in my mind, trying to iterate and make it exactly how I was envisioning, and I think I got it to a point where I'm really happy with it, so I wanted to cast it on. So this is different than the thing that I showed you in last podcast episode. I was sharing with you that I have an idea for some red and gray Newton yarn. That project, that design still will be happening, but I was just so excited about this one. It's happening first. So I cast that on, and here is how it's looking. Can you tell what it might be? Maybe at this point. It's probably too early for you to tell what it will be, but I am just having so much fun with these textures. So if you are aware of mosaic knitting, this is mosaic knitting with a little bit of a twist. So there's a little something extra going on besides just mosaic knitting. Wow, this light in the background is casting cool light through the knitting. But anyways, this is going to be a cowl. So it is worked kind of from side to side. There's a little bit more shaping going on than that, but it's going to be a cowl. And this is kind of where this piece is going to be, and then it's going to be increasing out this way and around like so. So it will be a cowl. I want to make it really nice and cozy. I'm actually kind of planning on using this for bike riding. So I definitely want to be able to pull it up and cover my nose all up here, because when I'm bike riding around here, ooh, it gets so windy and cold. I definitely need to cover up my face, because when my face is cold, I just get so grumpy. I just do not want to be outside if my face or my ears are too cold. So anyways, that's mainly my purpose for this design, is I really want a nice and cozy cowl. But who says we can't make it beautiful, right? So that is what I have cast on, and I'm just having so much fun knitting this. It's really a joy. The textures and the patterning, it's the chart that I've designed is kind of, it's interesting. It keeps your attention, but it's not like you don't have to stare at the chart the entire time, I feel. Maybe that's just me, but anyway. And I also feel like it's exciting seeing it grow kind of quickly. I haven't been knitting on this for too very long, and I feel like I've gotten a good amount done. probably because the rows are kind of short, so it feels like it progresses quickly, and it's just exciting when that happens. So yeah, I'm really loving how it's coming out so far. And the yarn that I'm using is Knitted yarn, no surprise. My goodness. But anyways, this pattern, I don't think you have to use unspun yarn by any means. I'm actually going to be knitting, I've already planned, knitting on another version of this once I get finished with this one. I actually want to make another one using some hand spun yarn to see how the fading color will look. So lots of ideas. I'm just very, very excited about this one. But this particular sample is going with Lucra, knitted in yarn in Lucra. So it's this really deep green, brown, sort of earthy color. When I saw Caroline post about this, I just absolutely fell in love. So that is the base color. And then the secondary color is Glengra. I think that's how you say it, maybe. A really gorgeous gold with some gray throughout. So those are the two colors that I'm using for this particular version, and I just think it's very rich and beautiful. So yeah, that's how that one is coming along. Some little details and I-cords, and just having so much fun with it. And again, this is mosaic knitting, like I said, so that means you are only working with one color at a time. And I am using knitted and held single for this. Let's see what needles, US 4 needles, so that's 3.5 millimeter needles. And these colors have been fine to work with. This is actually one of my first times using knitted and held single. I'm definitely I guess I'm like a bulky weight knitter most of the time, or at least for knitted. Maybe it's easier, but anywho, I haven't been experiencing much trouble with these. Lucra has given me no trouble whatsoever, no breakage. It's been actually a real joy to work with this colorway, and that's one of the things about knitted is that each colorway, it will behave differently because the wool blend is different. So the color is different, and as well the wool blend is different. So Lucra, for example, doesn't want to break on me. It's very, very sturdy, I'm finding. But then Glengra, the golden color, this one I have had a few times where it's been trying to break on me, so I would have to kind of reinforce it a little bit. But it's nothing too bad, and if you don't want to deal with that at all, you don't have to. By all means, you can use a regular fingering weight spun yarn, any kind of yarn that's fingering weight. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how that one progresses and work on the other version of it too. It's just, I really love mosaic knitting, and I just so excited about this motif. So just some diamonds and different shapes going on, and of course it will progress and change, so you'll just have to see how it works out. So that is that new cast on, and then let's see, I have another new cast on. So this is a sweater that I am working for a friend, another gift knit in the works. So this is so squishy. This is going to be the squishiest, warmest sweater ever, and it is a lot of fabric. This is all going to be 1x1 ribbing, so hopefully you can see there. It's entirely 1x1 ribbing. The entire thing is going to be, so it's a lot of knitting, but you know, it's an easy stitch pattern, stitch repeat. So this sweater is inspired by one of Marta's sweaters from Knives Out, the movie Knives Out. Marta, one of the characters, she wears a sweater that looks very similar to this fabric. So it's a marled, it looks from the movie, it looks like it's a blue and a red and a white. So that is the fabric that I'm going for. My friend, he said he really wanted this sweater that was in the movie that Marta wears. So I was like, okay, let's make it happen. So he does want it a little bit different than hers. I am making the fabric, or at least I'm trying to make the fabric as close to what I think it looks like in the movie. So mostly blue, but then also with red and white marled throughout. But then my friend, he wanted it to be a drop shoulder construction, so a little bit boxier and looser. And from the movie, from what I can tell, it looks to be a 1x1 rib sweater for the entire main fabric. So that is what we are knitting. And yes, this has already been so much knitting. I feel like it's more than I'm used to, so it just feels like a lot, but the stitch pattern is simple, so it's been fun to knit on. Truthfully, it has been fun to knit on. However, I am a little worried because I am using knitted in yarn for one of these colors a couple of months ago in one of their collections from 2022. I had known that my friend wanted this sweater, and I was thinking that this colorway that came out from Acre was the exact perfect match of blue, and he really wanted it to be a nice cozy wool sweater, so I just figured it would be perfect. And I guess I didn't plan well enough, but I am almost certain that I'm not going to have enough of this blue to finish the sweater. Yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. If you have any of this color, this is Nina. I don't remember which collection this is from, but it's Nina from last year, 2022, Onorok Air, knitted in yarn. If you have any of this that you would be willing to part with, I would be happy to purchase it from you and pay for shipping and everything, because I really want to be able to finish this sweater for my friend, but I was a bad planner, and yeah. I think what happened was I was thinking I would only need to use one strand of knitted in held with the other colors to make the marling the way that we wanted it, but then I realized the colors weren't coming out quite right and I needed more blue, so I had to hold it double, and since I'm holding it double now, I don't think I'm going to have enough. So if you have any Nina you would be willing to part with, please let me know. And I would be happy to do a knitted in exchange or just purchase it or anything like that. Just let me know. You can comment down below or text me on Instagram or DM me on Instagram, whatever that's called. So yes, that is how this one is coming, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm really excited about it, and it's definitely going to be my new easy breezy knitting project because it's just 1x1 ribbing. And it is on US size 8 needles, so quite big needles, so I think it'll go quickly, but I do think I'll need more yarn, so we'll see on that one. I might have to rip back everything that I've already done and figure something else out, but we'll see. So yeah. Another whip, I have been working on my Inspired by Ellen KAL sweater. This knit along is ending at the end of January, so I need to finish my sweater. So the body I didn't do anything more on because I'm waiting on the sleeves. So I finished one of the sleeves for it. So it is now ready to be attached to the body. And I'm just trying on the sleeves and the body together now. I can really imagine it coming along, and it's been really, really fun. I'm very excited about it. This is going to be probably the warmest sweater I own once I finish it, because I'm knitting it to be quite close fitting. Just a tiny bit of positive ease to it is how I want it, so that it will be very nice and toasty warm. So for the sleeves, I have been doing increases all the way up. I cast on here at the bottom and been doing the colorwork motif all the way up for the Inspired by Ellen KAL. If you would like more information on what I am talking about, what is this knit along, then go down below to the description box down below. I will link the knit along and all of the podcasters that are hosting that knit along. You can go to their channels and find all the information on that, but it is essentially knitting something with this motif, anything at all, and that's just about it. So I am choosing to knit this sweater. I also made some socks, but I've already shown those to you all. And yeah, I'm really very much enjoying it. I'm using knitted in held double throughout, so, well, actually I guess it's kind of 4 because I'm using 2 colors. So I'm using Inest is the light blue, using that held double, and then also this is the gray is Wagenhem. So using those together. And I just really loved the low contrast of this. So it is color work, but it's very subtle throughout. So yeah, having a lot of fun with it. And I did do increases all the way up the sleeve to make it fitted all the way up. So increased from one repeat of, I'm sorry, not one, 3. I increased from 3 repeats of the chart pattern to 4. So at the top here, now it's 4 of the kind of this motif at the bottom. It's 4 of those at the top, and at the bottom it was only 3. So I'm going to be casting on the other sleeve very soon. I just finished this one and added some little stitch markers for where I was. And yeah, it's just been really fun. It's been flying by. I'm using US size 10 needles for this, and it's very squishy yarn. I'm so excited to be wearing this. And this project has been following me everywhere. I was actually knitting on it at the store while waiting for a phone plan. So this project has been on my needles with me everywhere. I have really found recently you definitely need to bring a knitting project with you on the go. Like, you never know when you'll have to wait for something and you'll just be sitting somewhere and it's like, oh, if I had my knitting, I would not be bored. I really felt that recently, so I've been making a point to bring my knitting with me everywhere, no matter what, because you never know. Is that crazy knitter talk? I don't know. Anyways, my grandmother did always used to say, bring a book with you everywhere so that you'll never be bored. So this is my version of bringing a book with me everywhere. So, off topic, but anywho, yeah, this sweater is coming along, and again, the cowl is ending at the end of January, so I'm definitely feeling the need to finish this. But I do think I will be able to finish this project. I just need to prioritize it a bit more instead of casting on more things. So yes, that sweater will hopefully be done by the end of January. And I think that is all the whips. And now we will get into acquisitions, things that have made their way into my life since we last spoke. So if you don't want to see that, then thank you for joining me and I'll see you next time. But if you are interested in that, then keep watching. This time I think it's all spinning acquisitions. So I actually, speaking of spinning, I have been spinning on the yarn for my partner's sweater. Am I going to get it right? What is the name? Not the teddy bear. Unbearable. The Unbearable sweater. So I actually did start casting that on. Or I did cast it on, and I've started knitting it, and I'm still working on the spinning, so I'll show that to you all next time. But yeah, I had some new fiber come in the mail for some other projects. So this one, as well as this one, are already planned for a shifty sweater for my friend. I'm going to need more colors than this, but they have been sold out, so I will have to purchase those when they're back in stock. But these ones, we know that my friend loves. She picked these out, and these will be part of her sweater. She really loves purples and oranges and blues, and we were having so much fun together. She doesn't live near me, but she came over a couple of weeks ago to hang out, and we were comparing fibers together, and it was just so much fun. She has a love for color as much as I do, so it was just so much fun to pick out colors with her. And so we picked out these fibers for her, and I will be spinning them up for her shifty sweater. The shifty sweater that I'm going to be knitting for her is going to be completely hand spun, so it's going to be a long-term project, but I'm really excited to see how it progresses. So one of the colors here is by Flannel Cakes Fiber. I got this on Etsy.com, and this particular colorway is called Haunted Mansion. So a really lovely, cool, purpley and blue toned sort of fiber. This is a completely Falkland wool, and it's pretty soft. It's not the softest fiber I've ever felt, but it definitely feels very light and airy, so I'm definitely excited to spin this up. Very lovely colors in that one. And then this one, you may recognize Malabrigo Nube if you are a spinner. That's what this, yes, Nube. And this one, oh my gosh, this colorway. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick it up, but there are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous colors in this. I feel like these are the colors of like what the universe would look like. Does that make sense? Like, wow, these are just so beautiful. I think that Malabrigo their Nube line, they just get such good colors in there. So cool. I have a few of these in stash, and I've started spinning one of them, and it's just breathtaking, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really excited to see how this one spins up for her sweater. And then I just fell in love with these. Picked up some braids from Emily Gillies, a hand dyer that I've been following on Instagram for quite a while. And I've been eyeing her fibers for quite a long time, and I was like, you know what? We just need to do it. So I don't have a specific plan for these, but I just thought they were so gorgeous. Just the depth of color, and wow. I really hope this is coming up properly because it's breathtaking. Really deep, beautiful colors. And I really love how she dyes her braids. So from one end to the other, it's a continuous fade. So it kind of does the work for you. And you can also, you know what it's going to look like most likely at the end of the spinning process. So that's also fun. So my plan for this is to split it in half down the middle to do a 2-ply. And then I will keep the fade that is here. So it runs from a green into kind of tanny blues, and then like a tannish gray, and then like a steel gray up here. Just beautiful fade. So that's from Emily Gillies. Let's see, this particular fiber is gray Shetland silk, so it's also dyed on a gray base. I think that also kind of lends to the depth of color. And there's also silk in there, so you get these pops of shine. It's just, oh, beautiful. So yes, 70% gray Shetland and 30% silk. So that is the base for that one. And then this one is the same base, just a different colorway. Oh my goodness, how beautiful is that fade? Oh, let me roll it up so you can see all the colors together. Isn't that just so pretty? I love her colors. Emily, you know what you're doing. Yeah, so this one is a blue to pink to orange into steel gray and a kind of teal. So again, I'll be doing the same kind of fiber prep with this one as well. Just split it down the middle and keep the fade intact as it is. And I'm very excited to see how those turn out. I just get so excited by spinning fibers. I need more time to spin. All the fiber arts, just so much fun. So I think that is everything for today, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed already, and like this video. And yeah, I will see you in the next podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter if you would like to do that, so you're updated on new shop updates, designs, and test knits that I have going. And I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and happy knitting, happy spinning, happy making, whatever your fancy is. Yeah, so thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.